Hi, in this video I will speak about some of the important concepts you need to consider while solving algebraic expressions. Okay, let us start with multiplying two integers having similar or opposite signs. Whenever we multiply any two integers having same sign, then the result of the multiplication is always positive integer, right? See in this table, here we are multiplying two positive integers, so result of this multiplication will be a positive integer, right? For example, let us say we have two positive integers 3 and 3. When we multiply these two integers, then the result will be 9, that is 3 multiplied by 3 is 9, and sign of this integer will be positive. Because when two positive integers are multiplied, as you see in this table, then the result of the multiplication is a positive integer, right? So the result of 3 multiplied by 3 is 9. We do not write plus sign in front of any positive number or any positive integer because this is understood, right? If something is written as 5 or 8 or any number, then it is understood that this is a positive integer, right? Okay, now let us multiply two negative integers. Okay, here also both the integers have same sign, that is negative, and we know that when we multiply any two integers having same sign, then the result of the multiplication is always a positive integer, right? So in this case also the result of this multiplication will be a positive integer. Let us take an example. Here minus 3 is multiplied by minus 3 and both these integers are negative integers, right? So here first we are going to multiply 3 and 3, that is 9, and because we are multiplying two negative integers, so the result of this multiplication is going to be a positive number. So minus 3 multiplied by minus 3 is 9 and not minus 9. Okay. Next, whenever we multiply a positive integer and a negative integer or a negative integer with a positive integer, then the result is always a negative integer. Okay. In this case, here we are multiplying a positive integer with a negative integer and a negative integer with a positive integer. So in both these cases, the result of the multiplication is going to be a negative integer, right? Let us take one example. Here we have taken example of 3 multiplied by minus 3 and minus 3 multiplied by 3. So when 3 is multiplied by 3, we get 9 in both the cases. And because a positive integer is multiplied by a negative integer, we will get a negative integer. That's why the result of this multiplication will be minus 9. Same way, result of this multiplication is also minus 9. Okay. So here is the rule. Whenever two integers are multiplied having same sign, then the result is a positive integer. And whenever two integers are multiplied with different sign, then the result of the multiplication will be a negative integer. Okay. Now let us take a few more examples. In this example, we have 2 multiplied by minus 2, right? Here notice one thing, that we have one integer having minus sign, that is minus 2. Okay. This is very simple. First multiply 2 with 2, that is 4, and you refer this table. A positive integer is multiplied by a negative integer, then the result is a negative integer, right? So we will get minus 4. Okay. Now let us take one more example. Here we are multiplying two negative integers, that is minus 2 and minus 2, right? And this is also very straightforward. Whenever we multiply any two integers having same sign, then the result will always a positive integer. Here 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, and because both these integers have same sign, we are going to get a positive integer. Now let us move to next example. Here we are multiplying minus 2 3 times. As you can see here, minus 2 is multiplied 3 times. In this case, 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 is 8, right? Now let us multiply the signs, okay? If we see first two integer, then this minus multiplied by this minus multiplied by minus, negative multiplied by negative is positive. So this is a positive, right? And when this positive is multiplied by this minus sign, then we get a positive multiplied by negative is a negative integer, right? So result of this multiplication is going to be minus 8, right? Same way, in this example, minus 2 is multiplied 4 times. Let us only multiply 2 4 times and the result will be 16. Okay. Now look at the signs only. Here first negative sign is multiplied by second negative sign. This negative sign and this negative sign. These two negative signs will be multiplied, and because both have similar sign, negative and negative, so we are going to get a positive integer as the result. And now we are going to take these two integer, minus 2 multiplied by minus 2. Here minus is multiplied by minus, so we are again going to get a plus integer as a result, right? And when this plus is multiplied by plus, then we are going to get a positive integer. So minus 2 multiplied 4 times, we are going to get 16 as the result, right? Next, in this case, minus 2 is multiplied 5 times. When 2 is multiplied 5 times, we are going to get 32. Now look at only signs. This is negative, this is negative. So the result of negative multiplied by negative is positive. This multiply sign will come. This negative multiplied by this negative is again positive, right? So this multiplication sign will come, then negative, multiply the whole thing by negative. Again let us see, this positive is multiplied by this positive, positive multiplied by positive, we are going to get a positive integer. So plus positive integer, then multiply by negative integer. What we are going to get? When positive is multiplied by negative, we get negative, right? So the result of this multiplication is negative. So when minus 2 is multiplied 5 times, we are going to get minus 32, right? So hope this is clear to you. Let me write this in a table. This is what we have seen, right? So this is the first example. When a positive integer is multiplied by a negative integer, we get a negative result. When two negatives are multiplied, we get a positive integer. When 3 negatives are multiplied, we get a negative integer. When 4 negatives are multiplied, we get a positive integer. And when 5 negative integers are multiplied, we get a negative integer as a result, right? Let us study this table in little more detail. Okay, so this is what we have seen. Let me write number of times a negative integer is multiplied. So in first example, we have how many negative integers? Just one. I will write 1. In second example, we had 2 negative integers. In third example, we had 3 negative integers. In fourth example, we had 4 negative integers. And in fifth example, we had 5 negative integers. Number of negative integers, right? This is number of negative integers. So you see here, 1 is odd number, 3 is odd number, and 5 is odd number, right? And see result of these, negative result. When 3 negative integers are multiplied, the result is a negative integer, and when 5 negative integers are multiplied, we get a negative integer. Can we say that whenever odd number of negative integers are multiplied, then the result of the multiplication is a negative integer, right? And here 2 is even number, 4 is even number, right? So whenever even number of negative integers are multiplied, then we get a positive integer as result, right? So when negative integers are multiplied odd number of times, then the result is a negative integer. And when negative integers are multiplied even number of times, then we get a positive integer, right? Then the result is a positive integer, right? Let us take a few more examples to understand it better. Okay, so this is what we have seen. Let us take example. Here -1 is multiplied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 times, right? This is multiplied 6 times. Negative integer is multiplied 6 times. So result of this multiplication is going to be 6 is an even number, so the result is going to be positive, right? And 1 is multiplied whatever number of times, we get 1 only. So result of this multiplication is 1, right? In this example, -1 is multiplied 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. That is an odd number. So result of this multiplication is going to be a negative integer, that is -1, right? So this is going to be the result of this multiplication. So -1 multiplied 6 times can be written as -1 to the power 6. Okay, -1 multiplied 7 times can be written as -1 to the power 7, right? So whenever -1 is having an even number power, then the result of this multiplication is always positive, right? And when -1 or any negative integer has power of odd number, then the result of that multiplication is always going to be a negative integer. Getting? So if I ask you -1 to the power 20, what is going to be the result of this particular multiplication? This is going to be, because 20 is an even number, so result of this multiplication is going to be 1, right? And when this -1 is having power of 101, then what is going to be the result? Is it going to be a positive number or is it going to be a negative number? Because 101, it's an odd number, so result of this particular multiplication is -1. Okay, so -1 to the power n, when n is even, then the result is going to be positive, right? And when n is equal to odd, then the result is negative. And -1 is only for an example. There could be any negative integer, right? So any negative integer having a power of odd number will result in a negative integer, right? And any negative integer having a power of even number will have a result of positive integer. After solving it, you will get a positive integer, right? So hope this concept is clear to you. In my next video, I will bring more examples where we will learn how to multiply constant and variable both. Okay? Thank you for watching.